Calls. We're coming today. I'm down in the offices of Senator Bussman. It's week number 7 down in Montgomery. You had some guests from Cullman visit you this week, didn't you?
We did. We had the chamber came down with some of their government affairs committee. Had the mayor came down, Mayor Jacobs. We had some of the people from economic development with us. We had a couple of the people that were from industry, and we had the CEO of the hospital, and we had a good group down there.
It was a good group, and I understand they got to meet the director of ALDOT, Mr. Cooper.
Yeah, we had an interesting day over there. They found out exactly how the struggle is when we try to do road projects. Mr. Cooper was very clear on how confusing it was to decide how to do a road. And I think it was very good for them to hear exactly what he said, simply because we hear it on a regular basis. We're in his office a lot trying to get these things done, and it was good that the citizens of Cullman heard what the concerns are and the problems are with getting the rest of the highway done.
Well, I know we've got Highway 157. It's been a topic for years now. We've got bridges that go nowhere. We've got the hospital that's booming, industry out that way. And we can't get it four-lane, can't get it finished, and that's part of this mix, isn't it, that you're talking about?
It is, and unfortunately there's been some political things that have happened in the last couple of years that have prevented that road from being done. Governor Bentley decided to do a couple roads that were not critical roads, and when the governor tells the director of ALDOT he's got to do something, he's got to do it. And so that kicked us back even farther. So we've got some work to do. I intend to sit down with the governor here in the next week or two and see if we can't move that project to the front.
Sounds good. Let's get on back to the floor. The Senate did what you said they would, predicting it over the last 2 or 3 weeks. You moved the general fund budget to the House, right?
Yes, we did. We got the general fund out. It was a very non-controversial, I guess, budget. We're fortunate enough to have enough money this time to do a lot of the things that we need to do. The federal government passed the CHIPS program for 6 years. That kept us in a real financial, we could have gotten in a real financial bind with that. That didn't happen, so we had a little bit extra money to work with, and so it turned out to be pretty good. We beefed up some of the agencies, but we're still looking at a 3% pay raise for teachers that we've got to get that finished, and we're not done with that yet.
And I assume the House is going to look at it. They probably got their own ideas, and at some point, you guys will meet in the middle and negotiate it out. That's about how it's always worked, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's the way it is. And I probably said teachers just a minute ago. We were looking at a 3% pay raise for the state employees. We're also looking at a pay raise for teachers, but I was talking about the state employees. But yeah, now it goes to the House. They'll put in their 2 cents and they'll decide what is important to them. And then it'll come back to us, and it'll probably go to conference committee, and both the House and the Senate will get together, and we'll figure out what that final budget looks like. But it's moving along really well.
So smooth sailing as it has been for several weeks. So what else do you have in the works?
Well, we got the education budget coming up fairly soon, within the next 2 weeks. That's a big, important budget for the people in my district, primarily because we don't have a university in my district, and we've got to start leveling the playing field on funding for K-12 community colleges, and put them on the same plane as higher ed. And right now, in my opinion, K-12 and community college are getting the short end of that revenue stick, and we've got to start trying to fix that, and I intend to try to do that.
Well, I have a question that's related to that. Community colleges, things of that nature, they seem like they're on the forefront of workforce. In other words, where are our workers in blue-collar, technical type jobs going to come from? It seems like it's going to come from community colleges, right, not from universities. So why is that not getting more funding?
Well, it's a power struggle is what it is. When people get a certain amount of money, they want to keep getting that certain amount of money. They don't want that percentage to change. And in my opinion, the percentage has got to change. We know by looking at data, firm, serious data about the workforce. The workforce is aging. We have got to have welders. We've got to have plumbers. We've got to have career tech people that can go out in the workforce and be employable. And right now we don't have that. And so in my opinion, if we're going to make a workforce that is good enough to handle the Toprays and the Utakas and the Toyota Mazda that's coming in North Alabama, we've got to start beefing up our community college system and getting those people trained so when they come out, they can go right to work and make a really good living.
Well, I was up at the open house for the Cullman Technology Academy up there. I was talking to the gentleman who runs the electrical division, and he was telling me about they can't hire electricians. It's guys in their 60s and 70s making $30, $35 an hour, but young people, there's almost none. And so it's his prediction that in 10, 15 years, there'll be no electricians left, as an example of the problem.
You have hit it right on the head. The workforce is above 45, and we don't have people coming in behind them. And I think what's happened over the years, we've diminished that trade. We've diminished the idea the trades are important. We tried to stick everybody in a college hole, and I think we're seeing the errors of that decision. And so I think we've got to start reinvesting in those areas. A welder now can make 6 figures. A certified welder can make 6 figures. That's a tremendous income, and they can go to work tomorrow. It's not like they're sitting out waiting for 6, 8 months for a job. They go to work tomorrow, and we've got to continue to do that. I went out to the Career Center myself, and they are using World War II equipment and expecting people to come out of their program ready to go to work, and that's just unacceptable. So we've, over the last several months, we bought them a significant amount of equipment to try to get them up to speed where the kids can graduate and go right into the employment business.
Now, you omitted a spot right there. I'm going to reveal a secret. Some of that money came from you.
Yeah.
I mean, your personal money.
Well,
that's how invested you are in it.
Some of it comes out of accounts that I'm supposed to use for my Senate expenses, and that's just part of it. That's the way I look at it. I drive back and forth from Montgomery to Cullman and can save $100 a night if not staying there. That gives me the opportunity to use that money for other things. I've used it for many things that are important. I bought repairs on fire trucks. I've replaced equipment at fire stations. There's a whole bunch of stuff that we do, and it's just important that we do those things and continue to support the district that we serve.
Week number 7, what do you expect coming up?
I think it'll be a slow week next week. I think we'll see the Education Trust Fund in committee, but other than that, I think it's going to be a fairly slow week. But once that education budget starts moving, it's going to pick up. The other thing that I look at is, we've been told that we're going to try to end the session by the end of March. It gives us about 5 weeks, and that's a 10 days, 12 days. That's a very short period of time to get things done. So what we're doing now is we're making sure all the bills that we have in the legislature are in a position to get passed. Right now, we don't want to wait till the end of the session and find out that we don't have enough time to get certain things done. One of those things is the bus bill. We need to get that bus bill so our schools can have extra money for transportation. So that's one of my priorities over the next couple of weeks, to make sure that bill gets out and gets done.
Makes sense. We'll keep our eyes on it next week. I'll be back to talk about it. Thank you, sir.
Enjoyed it.